Okay. First of all, whenever I'm doing a rational expression, I always want to look to see if something's factorable. Because remember, if something's factorable, I could always divide them out, and it's a whole, not an asymptote, correct? However, that's not factorable, nor is that, so therefore I don't need to worry about that. Vertical asymptotes, all you need to do, ladies and gentlemen, is set your denominator equal to 0 and solve. However, can we take the square root of a negative number to get a real number? No, so it's going to be imaginary solutions. So we're just going to say no vertical asymptotes. It's really no real vertical asymptotes. Your values are going to be square root or I plus or minus the square root of 3, right? Or plus or minus I square root of 3. So there are no real vertical asymptotes. For horizontal asymptotes, again, what we need to do is compare the numerator and the denominator's degree. Those are exactly the same. So we'd say the numerator is equal to the denominator. And remember, in your notes, which we covered from the first chapter, when the degrees are exactly the same, you have the equation y equals leading coefficient over leading coefficient, which is just 2, because 2 over 1 is 2. OK? And in this case, there is no slant asymptote, because there only is going to occur a slant asymptote when there's no horizontal asymptote. So we would just write none. OK? Now we need to find the x-intercepts. X-intercepts are when y equals 0. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to place f of x with your y. We're going to replace that with 0. And we're going to solve for x. So just remember, guys, we can't solve for x when it's in the denominator. So we have to multiply this on both sides. And if you guys want to kind of think of this as a shortcut, when you're finding the x-intercepts, basically you're just setting the numerator equal to 0. That's really all you're doing every single time. Minus 1. So then you add 1, divide by 2. So you'd have x squared equals 1/2. Then you take the square root. So I'd say x equals plus or minus the square root of 1/2. That cannot be reduced, so we'll leave it like that. X-intercept would be written as square root positive and the negative. But remember, they're the x coordinate, then 0. Yes, Riley? I just didn't show my work for time purposes. I added a 1, and then I divided by 2. To find the y-intercept, x equals 0. So therefore, all I'm going to do in this case is now just plug 0 in for x. So I'll just replace f of x with y. And I have 2 times 0 squared minus 1 over 0 squared plus 3. And you can see I get y equals negative 1/3. And then I can write that as a coordinate point, 0, negative 1/3. So therefore, I found the x-intercepts, the y-intercepts, and then all of the asymptotes. Just remember, guys, remember that plus or minus. It gets so many students.